Hey, this is Calstonian, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make a unit card for Medieval 2 Total War. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is come into the units folder in UI, and we're going to pick a unit that we know already has a card that is fairly similar to what we want. Now, if you're not seeing these previews for TGA files, I do recommend that you download Pictus Image Viewer, and I'll include a link to that in the description, as well as a link to the download for GIMP. You'll either need Photoshop or GIMP in order to do this. Basically, any image editor that can deal with the layers and transparency. Now, what we're going to do is, I was sent these files for a new Blackroot Veil Archer for our mod, and we're just going to create a unit card out of those files. So I'm going to open Modeler's Toolbox 0.6 and Milkshape, and I'm going to convert the mesh, and I'm going to convert both of the diffuse textures for the attachments, and not the normal maps, because I don't need the normals. Then we're going to open the mesh, come over to the Groups tab, and I'm going to open a new instance of Milkshape. And then we're also going to convert the mesh with goat. And that gave us this guy here. And this is the one that gets converted with goat is actually going to be the one that we are posing. And the reason for that is because goat actually guesses the skeleton correctly. So if you come over here and you do show skeleton, I would have to reduce the skeleton size, but it is actually more or less correct for a biped. Whereas for models that are converted with the toolbox, if you have not already converted the skeletons pack, then you're just going to get a nonsense skeleton here. So that's not going to be useful for posing. But the good thing about converting with toolbox is that toolbox keeps the subgroups assigned to the correct material, attachments, and figure, whereas goat assigns all of the mesh groups to the figure material. So that's obviously not right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go all the way to primary bill, is we're going to fix the assignments for the mesh groups to the correct material. Okay, so now we have those assigned correctly. We can go ahead and close the version that was extracted with toolbox, and I'm going to delete that file as well. And then we're going to convert our DDS files. There's for some reason Milkshape, with this particular compression format for these DDS files, Milkshape tends to crash when I try to load DDS, but it will let me load in the TGAs, so I'm just going to convert these over to TGA format. And then set it's textured. So now we have our guy textured correctly, and what we're going to do is we're going to now hide duplicate or secondary weapon groups that we don't need to be showing. And there's also a question of choosing, because as you can see, this group has two variations for the primary attachments, multiple variations for the head, and we're simply going to choose one that we like. Yeah, these all look the same, so it's fine, we'll go with that. And I think the rest are not duplicates, but it doesn't really matter if they are. Body only has one, I think. Yep. Alright, so now we're set up there. Come to select none, The Model tab, rotate, go to Joints, click this Anim button here, and this will allow us to rotate the joints so that we can actually pose our character. So this is pretty common. Sometimes these joints don't go all the way. The inverse kinematic solvers don't extend all the way to the end of these. So we're going to check that these are actually assigned correctly. And it looks like the bow is not assigned correctly. So we're just going to assign just for the purpose of this video, we're going to assign the entire bow to the hand. Let's find that primary bow. And we'll go with left hand and assign that. Except that part. It's not correct. Obviously, we want this to be assigned to the torso. And this to be assigned to the left hand. Right hand, excuse me. Okay. That looks better. Now we're going to remove those mesh groups again. And the head again. Okay, now we're set up and ready to go. I'm going to show that. Bring this arm forward a little bit. And maybe back. Something like that, so that it kind of looks like he's holding to his belt there. Now we're going to maximize our texture viewport. And we're going to do something like that. Then we're going to use print screen. And then we're going to do select by color. And we're going to increase threshold to something reasonable. A little bit higher. We want to try to increase threshold as much as we can without getting any of the content color. And just click delete. Now Control A and Control C, and we'll just drop that on top of our existing unit card. And then we'll scale that down. And what we're going to try to do with the scale is we're going to try to match the style of the original unit card. Just something like that. A little bit closer to the camera. Here he's about the same distance. So we can do that. And let's just compare. And it looks good. And we'll do layer to image size. And apply a sharpen filter. We'll zoom out to see what it looks like from the actual viewing distance. Something like that. Excellent. Looking really good so far. And a few other things that we can do. We can come to brightness and contrast. And try to slightly increase the brightness a little bit, and maybe increase the contrast just a bit. Just so that it stands out a little bit. We use Control Z, and Control Y, see if we helped. It'll look like we helped a little bit there. So that's it. That's the entire process for creating unit card for Medieval 2 Total War. Remember, the most important aspect is consistency, so you do want to make sure that you're trying to match that reference image, just so that your unit cards will look consistent throughout the entire mod. You don't want to have some units using a different pose style or different distance to the camera, or having a different head space. And when I say head space, I just mean this distance here between the top of the head and the top of the card. Those types of things are very noticeable. Those discontinuities between cards are very noticeable. So that's it. If anything was unclear, or if you have a better method for working with unit cards, please do let me know. And thanks for watching.